I'm Dixie Gillaspie. We are in St. Louis, Missouri, which is my adopted center of the universe. My community reaches really anywhere I can touch, from here or online, but St. Louis is where the heart is. Dixie Dynamite, I guess, was born when I was born, because it's been a nickname that crops up fairly often in my life and in my career. So it kind of started professionally when I was speaking, believe it or not, in medical consulting, and I got called Dixie Dynamite, or you got to go see Dixie because she's dynamite. So it just kept coming up. It came up again recently. One of my colleagues kind of started calling me Ms. Dynamite. So when I started with Twitter, which was a complete accident, it wasn't a branding idea of mine. I just wanted to go investigate it. Just kind of like Dixie wasn't available, Dixie G wasn't available, nobody can spell Gillaspie, so I wasn't going to use Gillaspie, and Dixie Dynamite was available. So I used it on Twitter, started engaging with people, having conversations, getting connected on Twitter. It caught on. It's just it's kind of a natural thing. I think I have connectivity to that concept of lighting people's fire and being lit up. So Dynamite just kind of stuck. So now it's Coach Dynamite. There's nothing worse really in the human experience than isolation. We go through, I think, most of our life wanting to be connected and wanting to be a part of something, and wanting, whether it's understanding or just being plugged in. We want to be part of the bigger picture. Everything from our spirituality to our daily lives to even our business life is about creating some kind of connectivity to a bigger picture and figuring out where we fit and what purpose we serve. So without connectivity, and if we function in complete isolation, nothing is created. Nothing, really has meaning without that connectivity. So it's everything. Connectivity starts with being connected to ourselves and acceptance of ourselves. So if being connected externally breeds tolerance and support and a structure where anything is possible, then internal connectivity and tolerance has to come before that. We can't really connect to others unless we're connected to ourselves, because that connection would be artificial then. So it came as a very young child, being raised as an only child. I had siblings, but they were grown and gone. So I had a lot of time to contemplate, and I was a somewhat introspective person by nature. So first it was, how do I connect to myself? How do I connect to my potential or to my dreams? And then it became, well, then how do I connect to other people's story and other people's potential and other people's dreams? And that just, other people's story always inspired me. So feeling a connection to that, or feeling like I could relate or put myself in someone else's shoes, has always been a part of my life. I didn't think of it as a business. I breathe it. I can't not do it. I never meet someone, but what I start thinking, oh, I wish you knew this person, or I don't know why you need to know this person, but I know that you do, and something will come out of it. It may be business, and it may just be a support structure, and who knows what it is, but something will come out of it. So I always see, whether it's connecting the dots conceptually, or maybe the dots are people and connecting people, I never really saw that as something that I should be involved with professionally, or that I should get paid for. It wasn't work, and it's hard to charge people for something that doesn't feel like work. That felt like beyond play. That felt like total joy. So, but people started saying to me that's what they really valued. Two things. One was the amount of connectivity I inspired, so connectivity to themselves and to other people, and the possibilities that I showed them in connectivity. And the other is, I'm not a big believer in I can't. Anybody that comes to me and says, I want to do this, but I don't think I can, because my answer is, oh, let's figure out how you can. Because there's a way. There's always, if you want to do it, there's no I can't. There's maybe I can't do it that way, or I can't do it at that time. It may not be exactly what you saw in the first vision, first approximation, as one of my coaches says, but there's a way. Here I am, and I started my own business. I was still consulting. And then it kind of transformed into a recognition of, I went back and I looked at every part of my career that I was most proud of, what really was lighting my fire in what I was doing, and it was the personal development. It wasn't the business strategy. Marketing still lights my fire. I love playing in the marketing world. You met the guys from Spoke. They let me play on their team now and again, and that that lights my fire, but it's not a full-time thing for me. What really lights my fire full-time is developing individuals and watching people kind of come into their own. And so I transitioned yet again into more of an open coaching role. That's what I've been doing. That's not what I had been selling. So I transitioned again, and then the Dynamite thing really took off the first of the year when I got involved in Twitter. So it's been an evolutionary process. Everything is. Let's define what's in real life. I'm really living my life. You're really living your life. And now we're in person. So people would say, oh, you have now met in real life. I was in my real life when I was connecting to you online and I hadn't met you. And I'm pretty sure you were in your real life at that point too. So we had two real life people bringing a very real, authentic life into what was an online medium. That's all. It's just, it's a different medium for sharing two real lives. So I tend to protest when somebody says, I don't know her in real life. Does that mean she's fake when she's online? Because if she's fake when she's online, then I don't know that you want to know her in real life, right? But if she's real and you're real, and the medium doesn't really separate you, the medium is actually what connects you, you've met in real life. You just haven't met face to face. So there's not a corporal connection, so to speak, but it's still a very real, in real life connection. A connected world is not only more tolerant, but more loving, more supportive, more accepting, less judgmental, because it goes back to that sense of when I'm connected with someone, I can't hurt them without hurting myself. So a truly connected world wouldn't need things like war. We wouldn't need a military. Those things are necessary when there is no connection, and therefore when people are willing to hurt other people to get what they want. One of the things that I find that when you teach children someone else's story, they're less likely to take things away from that other person or to hurt that other person because they empathize with them. They can put themselves in that position. So connected world is a happier, safer, more peaceful place. Have you ever had roses? Any flower really, but I have a fondness for rose bushes. Okay, you don't own it. It's planted in the ground. You don't own that rose bush, but you care for it, and you watch it, and you wait, and the little buds come out, and you're like dying to see this rose. The velvet petals and the scent, and you just want to see it blossom, but you have to wait and you have to take care of it. And when a client starts to come into their own and starts to kind of self-actualize and own their own future and their own purpose, and I start to see that transform them and them transform the world through it, it's like the first day that you look at that little rosebud and you realize it's not a bud anymore. It's a full blossomed rose. It's not yours. You didn't do it. It's not an accomplishment that you can take on and say, I did that, because that's just nature. The rose did what the rose does, but you contributed. You made an environment where that was possible. That's what it feels like. What I hope people take away from the conversation you and I are having, I hope they take away a sense of courage, of a willingness to take that risk, whether it's to let go of the rocks or whether it's to reach out of their box or whatever it is, but to be willing to connect with something that's outside of themselves, but to also be willing to connect with what's inside of themselves. A willingness to become more self-aware and to take responsibility for their own happiness, because we can't make other people happy. We can create the environment where roses blossom. We can't force them to bloom. So I want people to be empowered, to have the courage to blossom in whatever environment they find themselves in, and to have the courage to reach out and form connections with the rest of the world.